Giuliano da Empoli, thank you for coming to Buitenhof and thank you for bringing this great book, Het Uur van de Wolven, translation here in the Netherlands. But in English, it's The Hour of the Predator. Who are, in your mind, the predators?
Predators are politicians, leaders who don't abide by the rules and who only believe in force and the use of force. And you don't really understand the predators if you look at the political scene for the last 20 or 30 years, the way we saw it in the West, in the US and in Europe. But you understand them if you read the classics. You know, if you just open a Roman history book about the emperors or Machiavelli or any historical book, you will find figures like that.
You are talking about the Borgia family, for example, 16th, 17th century in Tuscany. We're going to talk about them, but first, who are the names that fit your profile? Who are we talking about?
In my book, I try to paint scenes more than, you know, do abstract reasoning. And the people I try to represent in the book, they're of course Donald Trump, but also MBS, the heir to the Saudi throne,
Mohammed bin Salman.
and Mohammed bin Salman, and Nayib Bukele, who's the president of Salvador. These are the political predators. Then you have a second category of predators who are the tech predators. The Elon Musk, of course, the Zuckerbergs, all those ones. And I think what is new now, and this is really the thing that we should focus on, is that the two types of predators have struck an alliance.
We have been talking in this show with former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak. The current Prime Minister, Netanyahu, do you consider him a predator as well?
I think he was a pioneer predator in a way, because his first campaign already in the mid-90s, when he was first elected in Israel, was already like completely breaking the schemes, very violent campaign, assisted by actually a famous electoral consultant, US, Arthur Finkelstein, who was the pioneer of negative, aggressive campaigns in the US, moved to Israel to promote Netanyahu. And from the very beginning, I think Netanyahu has been one of the forebearers of this very aggressive political style.
You mentioned Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Now, we just saw this week the press conference in which Elon Musk basically says goodbye to his government work. I'm done, I have to go back to my businesses. What in this relationship is the benefit, or how are they transactional?
What's important to understand, I think, is that the tech overlords, they don't want to be submitted to rules. They have the habit of moving fast and breaking things. They're against all elites, against all authorities, the old political class, but also the media, also academia, and all that. They want to build a new system. And so they pretended until now that they were okay with the old political class, you know, the moderate Democrats or the moderate Republicans or whatever. But now what is new is that they are striking an alliance with much more extremist predators like Trump, like Milei in Argentina, like Bukele, like the far right in Europe as well, because they have a common view, which is disrupting the whole system.
But why is it beneficial to people in this society? Why is chaos beneficial to the ordinary men and women in the street?
The point is, I think this is related also to the work, the way the digital ecosystem works. It's about raising the temperature more and more. And if you raise the temperature, basically, people will start thinking that anything is better than the current system, because the current system is just on the side of the elites, it's not for the people and all of that. And if there's enough people who think that the current system is rigged against them, chaos is good, you know, because chaos is still better than keep going with the old system.
What is the danger of this process?
The danger of the process is that you get rid of all the rules and the procedure that are part of democracy. Of course, we are living in systems where people have the feeling that there are too many rules, that the system can't be changed, that you can't make decisions, that nothing happens. And then you have a predator who arrives and says, I have to break the rules to make things happen. Yeah. And this is almost perceived as a kind of a miracle. You know, it's a miracle in theology is God intervenes in the world by bypassing the rules of that make the world function normally. And this, so the predator is proposing a sort of political miracle. I break the laws, I break the rules, but I solve people's problems. This is powerful, but it's dangerous because, of course, democracy is based on procedures and rules.
You have been traveling in the slipstream of people like the former Prime Minister of Italy, Renzi, and President Macron. You are in the corridors of power, as you describe in your book, and you can see what is cooking there. Now, if we go back to the United States, to President Trump and the relationship between him and the tech bros, the IT people, how successful are they in what you describe as creating chaos which is beneficial to them?
I think that they've been quite successful, and this is independent from the Trump-Musk relationship. You know, they might fight. We can see now that the relation is probably deteriorating, but you have tech bros at every stage of the Trump administration. And Trump himself, of course, he comes from a political backlash that would have happened anyway, probably, against the Democrats and all that, but the specific Trump political animal could only thrive on the digital chaos created by platforms and the digital ecosystem.
He has his own platform, Truth Social. Now, in your book, you compare the current situation with what happened in your partly Italian in the 16th and 17th century in Italy, more specific in Tuscany, where the Borgia family is very powerful and very violent.
Yeah. What happened then is it was the beginning of the 16th century, and the old small republics of the Renaissance, Florence and others, they were wiped out by basically a technological revolution, which was heavy artillery that was invented back then and that gave an advantage to the aggressor, to the person that would attack, because the old fortresses of the city republics, they couldn't protect them. And I think this is, and of course at that point you had people, all kind of, we call them condottieri, I call them Borgians, because they're the model of Machiavelli's prince who came to the foreground. I think this is similar to what we're experiencing now with digital. In digital, the aggressor also has an advantage. You know, attacking, not just a cyber attack, but even a digital campaign on social media or anywhere is very cheap, very easy. It's very difficult to protect yourself from that. And so again, you have figures like the 16th century princes and Borgians that come back to us.
You described the role of artificial intelligence. And it started all way earlier in the presidential elections. For example, during Barack Obama, he had help from Google, more specific, the CEO of Google at the time, Eric Schmidt. Now, artificial intelligence, how does that help people who want to create chaos? How dangerous is it?
It is dangerous in the sense that artificial intelligence, exactly like the predators, it feeds itself on chaos to produce power. So, you know, we live in a data society where nobody human can in any way interpret the data to produce decisions. So more and more we rely on these systems.
So it's happening already that AI takes over our lives then?
Yeah, and I think that the novel, the futuristic novel that talks about this is Kafka's Trial, which is basically a novel where nobody in the trial understands what is going on. And there's just a decision that's coming.
Yeah.
And this is what we're experiencing with AI. You can't know how the decision is produced. You only know that the decision is supposedly right.
Yeah.
But this is exactly the opposite of democracy, where you know how you reach the decision, and then the decision might be good or not so good.
Every form of transparency is gone in what you describe here. Now, these AI tech people, they are flourishing in Silicon Valley in the United States, not so much here in Europe. How can we in Europe protect ourselves against this AI violence, as you describe it, to pull over democracy, or can't we do it anymore?
I think we need to do two things. The first thing is we do need to protect our democracy. One thing that all the predators have in common, both the political, like Trump, and the tech people, is they're against Europe. You know, they're against European rules, they attack us very brutally, and I think this tells us that we bother them. You know, we're a problem. So this is good. We should keep being a problem for them. And
should we be a bigger problem? Should we have a bigger mouth?
Yeah,
and
the other.
protect ourselves?
I think we should have a bigger mouth. We shouldn't just be tactical, you know, around Trump, trying to outwit him, but also kind of really seriously confront him, because it's a political project that he has.
If
and
not,
we should face it.
Yes, very clear. If not, last question, if we don't do this, what will be the consequences for us, for Europe, for citizens here?
Well, we're already living an era of humiliation, because we see today how dependent we are on the US from a military point of view, from a technological point of view. So this humiliation will keep going, and we will have to give up our democratic systems because algorithmic chaos will take over. And basically, it will become increasingly difficult for our democracies to produce democratic decisions. And in the end, we might also be forced to pivot into a different system, which will no longer be democracy.
So the motto of Trump, fight, 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 is maybe a good one for Europe as well.
Should be.
Mr. Da Empoli, thank you so much. The book is called Het Uur van de Wolven. Thank you for being here, guest on Buitenland.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Bedankt voor het kijken. Vond je dit een goed gesprek? Vergeet je vooral niet te abonneren, een like of een comment achter te laten. Dat kan natuurlijk ook.
But now he attacks the Israel democracy. He attacks the independence of Supreme Court. He attacks the gatekeeper, the Attorney General or head of Secret Service, so on.